Good afternoon, and welcome to You Can Make It, a survivor's guide to living with lupus. This afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit about those rough days. Anyone out there who's had lupus or has a loved one or a friend with lupus, you know there are days where we just kind of out of gas. And I've been experiencing that this time for the past few days. And it's really, really rough. Some days I feel like I've been hit with a truck. Then there are times when I just feel like I just can't move. I'm just achy and tired all over. And people will say, well, what does it feel like? And all I can say is, I just feel horrible. You just feel horrible. And it's at those points we have to learn how to pace ourselves, rest, and realize there's nothing wrong with taking it easy. And I thank God for my mother and my support system. Our support system is so important because there are times, if you're like me, you'll keep going and going and going, like you're the Energizer Bunny, and you don't want to take the time to stop and rest and take care of yourself. But we have to do that in order to take care of our own bodies. Another thing I want to encourage everyone to get is, if you don't have a pulse ox, get one. And what that does is, most of us have been in the hospital before. It tells us what our oxygen rate is, what our heart rate is. And it's important, especially if, like me, you've ever been in respiratory distress or had breathing difficulties, respiratory failure, because it's easy to panic and feel that, you can't breathe. And that just helps to put things in perspective. Now, if you have an emergency, hey, get to the hospital. But if you can get your pulse ox, if your O2, if your oxygen level is 90 and above, you're good to go. If you're below 90, you need to start going to get you some help. If your heart rate is above 120, or if your heart rate is below 60, you need to go and get some help. And, it may take about 30 seconds to a minute to register, but it gives you a good idea as to where your levels are at that time. And it's important to know. Also, it's important that we learn the signs of our body. When our body is telling us we need to rest. When our body is telling us that it's time to go in the hospital. When our body is telling us, okay, you know what? You're starting to have a little flare. It's very important to be in tune with your body. Sometimes our bodies are just saying rest. And if we listen to our bodies, we'll back up. But if you're like me, sometimes your bodies tell you rest. And I'll be like, later. And keep going and going. And next thing you know, I've pushed it too much. I've gone too far. I've caused myself to go into a flare. I've worn my body down. And then I'm around someone who's sick. Now I have it worse. Because we have to remember, having lupus, we are immunosuppressed. So someone with a regular cold, we get around them, we catch that. It's not a cold. We get the fever, we get the chills, we get things, and it's maximized because our immune system is already compromised. So let's keep those things in mind. And then that just helps us to be stronger longer. It helps us to be able to do things that we want to do more. I've suffered from avascular necrosis, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in another episode in more detail. But as a result, I've had to have 3 joints replaced. I need a 4th and possibly a 5th one replaced, but I've had 3. And some days, I've never been one to suffer with a lot of joint pain, but some days it hurts so much to move. Just to do basic movements like get up. I apologize for the airplanes. I live near an air station. But to get up and go into go to the hallway, go to the kitchen, go to the restroom, whatever, it hurts so much. And then some days I feel like I could run a marathon. I have to learn how to pace myself and listen to my body. My body's telling me to rest. We all are going to go through challenges. We're going to have hills and valleys, ups and downs, but we can make it. we have been blessed so far to come through the challenges that we've overcome, to go through a lot of very hard tests. But the Lord has been merciful and He's been gracious and He's brought us through. So do not give up. Sometimes when we're having, like my mom says, a bend in the road, it feels like the longest bend and the longest trial and difficulty. And it's like, when will I get through this? But when you come out on the other side and you look back and say, look where I've made it from. Look what God brought me through. You know, you rejoice. And then not only that, you can reach back and encourage somebody else, which I pray and I hope I am doing through sharing these episodes and what I've experienced. If you have any questions or if there's a topic that you would like to discuss, please feel free to email me at moon_LDW@yahoo.com or moon_LDW@yahoo.com. You can also reach me on Instagram. Skeevy7 is my username there. Facebook, Linda D. Washington. And on YouTube, you could go by the series name, which is You Can Make It, A Survivor's Guide to Living with Lupus, or SKEEWEELDW, if you need to look me up by username on YouTube. I thank you all that have been tuning in and watching. I thank you for your kind words and your support. I'm asking you to please share it with other groups, pass it on to other people. Let's get the word out there so people know that we can make it, first of all, but that we can encourage each other. We can start a network, because a lot of times we have questions or we're in situations and we don't feel like anyone else has gone through that, but we can really support one another. And I ask you all to continue to pray for me and know that I'm just trying to encourage and uplift and educate and just let my fellow Luppies out there know that you can make it. And God has brought me through a whole lot. And hopefully I'll be able to share as much as I can. And sometimes I may get a little emotional, but it's because I've come through a whole lot. I've been through all kinds of trials. You know, I almost died a couple of times. You know, I had to learn how to walk again. I've had 3 joints replaced. You know, I just had the thyroid and the parathyroidectomies done last month. I have to have another surgery coming up in a few weeks. But you know, God has brought me through. I lost my hair 3 times, completely bald. And God has been so good to me. And I just want to share it with other people to encourage you, because when we get in our trials and we get in our lowest points, sometimes we feel abandoned and we feel all alone, like no one cares and no one understands. And I want to let you know that you're not alone, and there's someone out there who understands and who wants to encourage you to keep on fighting. Do not give up. Whatever your challenge is, kick through that door and you keep on fighting. You know, now I'm back on dialysis since my transplant failed last year. I'm looking for another transplant. If anyone out there would like to be tested or knows someone who would like to be tested, please get in touch with me. But until that time, I get up Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I go to the clinic and run with my dialysis family. And, you know, we encourage one another, because we are going to make it. Because think about it. You know, 20, 30 years ago, that wasn't even an option. Now we have that option, that we can continue to live and live well while waiting on an organ. So there's nothing to walk around and hold your head down about, nothing to feel sorry about, because you can make it. Until next time, be encouraged, be prayerful, be victorious, be uplifted. Know that you're not alone. Thanks for watching. You Can Make It, A Survivor's Guide to Living with Lupus. God bless you. Peace.